Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into a massive, frankly, extinction-level event that's facing digital creators right now in the age of AI. But hey, don't worry, it is absolutely not all doom and gloom. Today, we're mapping out the exact technical lifeboat you need to not just survive this shift, but actually thrive in it. $2 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the terrifying estimated annual ad revenue loss for digital publishers and creators right now. And why? Well, it's all because of AI-generated overviews and autonomous zero-click searches. I mean, that is honestly enough capital to completely collapse almost every major independent digital outlet that relies on the internet to keep the lights on. It's wild.
So, here's our roadmap to get through this. We are going to hit the $2 billion extinction event, the AI wood chipper effect, the X42 chopsticks lifeboat, how to become the toll booth, the casino versus the vineyard, and finally, arc-ejecting creators' sovereignty. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The $2 billion extinction event driven by zero-click AI searches. We really have to look at how the web is fundamentally shifting here. For years, the open web was your collaborative partner, right? It sent traffic directly to your site. But right now, it is rapidly turning into raw feedstock for AI models. And because these AI answer engines are just absorbing all that human-written content, independent expert traffic is literally flatlining.
The sheer scale of this drop-off is staggering. Look at this pure research data. 58.5% of searches are now ending in 0 clicks. Basically, standard search used to give websites a modest 15% click rate. But the second that AI's summary box pops up and answers the user's query before your links even have a chance to load, that rate plummets to 8%. Oh, and those tiny little source links embedded inside the AI summaries? Yeah, they get clicked a dismal 1% of the time. When the AI scrapes your insights, the user just stays on the search platform. And you, the creator, get absolutely nothing.
Moving on to Section 2, the AI wood chipper effect, or semantic decapitation. To really understand what happens to your data when it gets sucked into these massive language models, we have to go down to the hardware level. Specifically, we need to talk about the FPU, the floating point unit. This thing acts like a giant mathematical blender.
Legal experts actually call this phenomenon semantic decapitation, which I know sounds super intense, but it hits the nail right on the head. When an AI processes your work, it uses probabilistic hardware approximations. That's just a fancy way of saying highly educated guesses that are literally baked into the silicon. Because the machine is guessing rather than calculating an exact, undeniable truth, its unpredictable mathematical choices completely sever your human intent and your copyright from the final generated output.
You can think of it literally like a giant wood chipper. You start with a perfect, exact piece of data, that's your tree. But once your copyrighted work goes into the AI hardware approximation, the chipper, it gets completely shredded into statistical weights. You can never, ever reconstruct the exact mathematical path to get that original tree back. The exact chain of title is permanently wiped out by the machine's guessing game.
All right, Section 3, the X42 Chopsticks Lifeboat and resurrecting HTTP 402. Because thankfully, there's a definitive, mathematically perfect lifeboat to rescue us from this guessing machine. And remarkably, it relies on dusting off a 30-year-old internet protocol.
Let's trace this back. In 1996, internet pioneers like Tim Berners-Lee reserved the HTTP 402 payment required status code specifically for native web payments. They knew we were going to need it, but then nothing. A 30-year gap of digital dust. Why? Well, early developers got completely bogged down in Ricardian complexity, basically trying to attach bloated, hyper-complicated legal contracts directly to simple digital transfers. So it just sat there for 3 decades. It wasn't until the X42 protocol arrived recently that this code was finally revived, not as a heavy contract, but as a super simple webhook.
I absolutely love this analogy from our sources. It perfectly captures the chopsticks engineering philosophy behind the X42 protocol. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't build $1 million hyper-complex robotic arm just to pick up a single piece of sushi, right? You'd just use 2 simple sticks. Instead of building monolithic smart contracts full of legal bloat, they realized they could just use a lightweight, surgical webhook to demand payment. It is elegant, simple made easy engineering.
So how does this actually work in practice? It's a remarkably brisk, deterministic 3-step rhythm. Step 1, an AI agent requests your resource, and your server instantly fires back that classic 402 code demanding payment. Step 2, the autonomous agent's wallet natively signs a cryptographic proof, a micropayment. Step 3, the client retries the request, hands over the receipt, and boom, the server instantly unlocks the resource. Zero human friction, no clunky subscription paywalls, just a flawless, instantaneous connection of digital value to an action.
Which brings us to Section 4, becoming the toll booth and escaping the roadkill fate. By pairing exact, deterministic logic with the seamless payment rail of the X42 protocol, you can completely flip the script. You can turn this extinction event into your own massive, agentic publishing house.
The choice here couldn't be more stark. You no longer have to rely on dwindling ad clicks and accept your fate is AI roadkill, getting scraped for free and semantically decapitated. Instead, you can execute a brilliant local liquidation strategy. By using that HTTP 402 payment required status code via the X42 chopsticks architecture, you act as a sovereign toll booth. Instead of needing massive global human scale, you just sell direct, friction-free access to the autonomous agents locally. You force the machines to pay automated micro-royalties before they can access your human intelligence. You become the toll booth instead of the roadkill.
Section 5, Casino versus the Vineyard, the VC funding clash. Transitioning to this kind of technical sovereignty means we have to completely abandon the extractive venture capital models that fund today's artificial hype cycles.
They don't really care if the horse is killed as long as there is one winning. Oof, that is a brutal quote, but it perfectly sums up the liquidator VC casino model. The casino treats founders like disposable lottery tickets. They are totally obsessed with quick multiples and short-term extraction, and they just ignore the massive collateral damage of burned-out human talent left behind.
So the crucial alternative here is shifting to the legitimacy VC model. This operates like a 10-year vineyard. You don't strip mine a vineyard for a quick buck, right? You plant the seeds, you weather the early seasons, and you meticulously cultivate a yield that compounds over a full decade. It's all about building a compounding 10-year vineyard based on fundamental value and genuine partnerships, rather than just rapidly extracting capital for a fast exit.
Finally, Section 6, architecting creator sovereignty, the protective shell. To actually build this 10-year sustainable vineyard in the real world and protect it from a completely hostile landscape of hundreds of thousands of overlapping tech patents, creators need a flawless technical foundation.
We're talking about adopting highly specialized tools. We abandon those chaotic 2-year hype cycles. We employ LIFO, last in, first out, JSON state trees for absolute, undeniable determinism. We use dynamic smart contracts so we don't suffer financial damage from slow legal latency. Essentially, we transition the venture studio from being a speculative gambler into a clinical validator. This creates a venture architecture lab that acts as a mathematical, legally shielded protective shell for your work.
The ultimate goal of combining that 10-year legitimacy vineyard with a mathematically exact protective shell is what's called the clinical realization of inalienable value. It guarantees that your right to be compensated simply cannot be stripped away from your code. It ensures that genuine human authorship is deeply rooted, keeping you, the founder, completely in the driver's seat where you belong.
As the architecture of the web evolves right in front of our eyes, the ground is literally shifting beneath our feet. So I want to leave you with this to chew on. Are you going to succumb to the cloud enclosure and become zero-click AI roadkill? Or are you going to embrace the X42 Chopsticks Lifeboat, engineer your own digital sovereignty, and pilot your own machine in a compounding 10-year vineyard? The future of your digital freedom is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep building, and I'll catch you next time.